2 a.m. You're asleep. Your cat is awake, watching the door. This isn't random. Most people think their cat just happens to be awake at odd hours. Cats are nocturnal, right? They're just doing cat things. But here's what's actually happening. Your cat is performing sentinel behavior. They're monitoring the environment for threats while you're vulnerable. And they're doing it because their brain categorizes you as part of their social group, someone worth protecting. This behavior has evolutionary roots that go back thousands of years. And understanding why it persists in domestic cats changes how you interpret what your cat is doing at 2 a.m. Let's start with wildcat colonies. Most people think of cats as solitary animals. And in some contexts, they are. Adult wildcats hunt alone. They defend individual territories. They don't form permanent packs like wolves. But here's what research shows. When resources are abundant, wildcats form colonies. And in those colonies, cats sleep together. Not just for warmth, for security. Sleep is the most vulnerable state for any animal. Senses dulled, reaction time slow. Predators can approach without detection. For a solitary sleeper, this is dangerous. For a group, it's manageable if someone stays awake. This is where sentinel behavior comes in. Sentinel behavior is a rotating watch system. In feral cat colonies, not all cats sleep at the same time. While most of the group rests, 1 or 2 cats remain alert. They monitor the perimeter. They watch for movement, listen for sounds, scan for threats. After a period, usually 1 to 2 hours, the sentinel cat relaxes and another cat takes over. The watch rotates. This way, the group maintains continuous vigilance without any individual cat losing too much sleep. The behavior isn't conscious decision-making. It's driven by the amygdala's threat detection system combined with social bonding. Cats who are bonded to the group feel a neurochemical pull to monitor when others are vulnerable. The cortisol spike from detecting potential threats while the group sleeps motivates the vigilance. Which cat takes the sentinel role at any given time depends on several factors. Age matters. Younger, healthier cats are more likely to take watch than elderly or sick cats. Social rank matters in multi-cat households. More dominant cats often take sentinel positions more frequently. And attachment strength matters. Cats with stronger bonds to specific individuals are more likely to guard those individuals specifically. This is why, in a household with multiple people, your cat might guard you but not your partner, or vice versa. The sentinel behavior is directed toward the individual the cat has bonded with most strongly. Your domestic cat has inherited this system. When your cat watches the door while you sleep, they're performing the same sentinel role they would in a feral colony. They've categorized you as part of their social group. And when you're asleep, vulnerable, their brain activates the protective monitoring behavior. This doesn't mean your cat thinks you're helpless. It means their amygdala registers your sleep state as a time when threats are harder for you to detect. So they compensate by staying alert. Some cats will even adjust their position based on your sleep position. If you roll over and face the other direction, the cat might move to maintain a position where they can see both you and the door. They're tracking both your vulnerability and the potential threat vector. What are they monitoring for? 3 categories of threat. First, unfamiliar sounds. Your cat's auditory range is significantly broader than yours. They can hear frequencies up to 64,000 hertz. You max out around 20,000 hertz. When your cat is on sentinel duty, they're scanning for high-frequency sounds, scratching, rustling, movement, that indicate something is approaching. Most of these sounds turn out to be benign. A branch against the window, a car passing, the house settling. But the cat's job isn't to evaluate whether the threat is real. Their job is to detect anything anomalous and stay ready to respond. Second, unfamiliar scents. Your cat's vomeronasal organ processes airborne scent molecules continuously. When they're on sentinel duty, they're monitoring for scent changes, other animals, smoke, chemical shifts that indicate environmental danger. If your cat suddenly moves from their resting position to the window or door and starts sniffing intensely, they've detected a scent anomaly. They're gathering more information to assess whether it's a threat. Third, visual movement. Cats have excellent motion detection, especially in low light. When they're positioned where they can see the door, the window, or the hallway, they're watching for movement, shadows shifting, objects moving, anything that breaks the static pattern. Most of the time, nothing happens. The cat monitors, detects no real threats, and eventually relaxes or switches to a different activity. But the vigilance itself is the behavior. They're maintaining the watch. Now here's the distinction most people miss. Territorial patrol versus protective guarding. Territorial patrol is when your cat walks the perimeter of the house, checks windows, sniffs doors, and marks key points with scent. This is about maintaining their territory map. They're confirming boundaries, checking for intruders, and reinforcing scent markers. Protective guarding is when your cat positions themselves between you and a potential entry point, the door, the window, the hallway, and stays there. They're not moving, they're watching, and they're specifically oriented toward your location. The difference, territorial patrol, is about the space. Protective guarding is about you. If your cat does a quick circuit of the house and then settles somewhere random, that's patrol. If your cat positions themselves at your bedroom door or on the bed facing the door and stays there while you sleep, that's guarding. Why does this matter? Because protective guarding only happens with bonded individuals. Cats don't guard people they haven't bonded with. The behavior requires the cat to register you as part of their social group. If the bond isn't there, the cat might patrol the territory, but they won't take a sentinel position oriented toward you. If your cat guards you, it's a bond signal. They've integrated you into their colony structure, and their nervous system has decided you're worth the metabolic cost of staying alert while you sleep. Now let's talk about positioning. Cats who guard choose specific positions. These aren't random, they're strategic. First, doorways, the most common sentinel position. By sitting at the door, either inside the room facing out or just outside the room facing in, the cat maximizes their ability to detect approaching threats while maintaining proximity to you. Doorways are choke points. Anything entering the room has to pass through the door. By positioning there, the cat can intercept or at least detect threats before they reach you. Second, elevated positions. Some cats guard from the top of a dresser, a shelf, or the headboard. This gives them a height advantage. They can see more of the room, detect movement earlier, and position themselves above potential ground-level threats. This is adapted from wild cat behavior. In the wild, elevated positions, tree branches, rock outcroppings provide safety and visibility. Your cat applies the same logic to furniture. Third, window positions. If your cat sleeps near a window while you sleep, they might be monitoring external threats. Outdoor cats, wildlife, unfamiliar scents coming through the window, all of these can trigger vigilance. Some cats will alternate between the door and the window, checking both entry points in rotation. This is multi-point sentinel behavior. They're covering more than one potential threat vector. Fourth, on the bed, facing the door. This is close-range guarding. The cat is prioritizing proximity to you over optimal threat detection. They want to be near you even if it means a slightly less advantageous sightline. Cats who do this are balancing protective instinct with attachment seeking. They're guarding, but they also want physical closeness. Some cats will position themselves on your chest or against your side, but oriented toward the door. This is maximum proximity guarding. They're using your body as their base position while maintaining visual access to the entry point. And some cats will switch positions throughout the night. They might start at the door, move to the window, return to the bed, then back to the door. This is patrol-integrated guarding. They're checking multiple points in rotation while maintaining overall vigilance. If you track your cat's movement overnight, some people use pet cameras for this. You'll often see a predictable circuit. The cat isn't wandering randomly. They're following a route that covers key monitoring points. Now let's talk about when guarding becomes a problem. Normal guarding is calm. The cat is alert but not tense. Their body language is relaxed, ears forward but not flattened. Eyes open but pupils normal. They're monitoring, not panicking. If your cat guards in this calm state, it's healthy behavior. They're expressing their bond and performing an instinctive role. You might notice the cat will occasionally look away from the door, groom briefly, or even doze lightly while maintaining their position. This is normal. They're not in constant high alert. They're maintaining ambient awareness. Anxious guarding is different. The cat is tense, pupils dilated, ears twitching or flattened, body low. They startle easily. They might vocalize, low growls, anxious meows. They're not just monitoring. They're stressed. This is hypervigilance driven by elevated baseline cortisol. The cat isn't just performing sentinel behavior. They're stuck in threat detection mode. They can't relax, even when no real threats exist. Some signs to watch for: the cat never breaks position, even to eat or use the litter box. They refuse to sleep at all during the night. They show defensive aggression if approached while guarding. They're visibly exhausted during the day. These are indicators that the guarding has crossed into pathological anxiety. If your cat shows anxious guarding, prolonged tension, inability to settle, excessive startle responses, that's a red flag. It suggests the cat's stress level is too high. The environment might be unpredictable. There might be ongoing stressors, or the cat might have trauma history that's keeping their amygdala in overdrive. Solutions: environmental enrichment to reduce boredom, predictable routines to build safety maps, removing stressors if possible, and in severe cases, veterinary consultation for anxiety management. Here's something else worth knowing. Not all cats guard. Some cats sleep through the night without sentinel behavior. This doesn't mean they're not bonded. It means one of three things. First, secure environment. If the cat has habituated to the home, mapped the territory thoroughly, and experienced no threats over time, their amygdala has downgraded the threat level. Sentinel behavior becomes less necessary. Second, different attachment style. Some cats express bonding through proximity seeking, vocalization, or daytime interaction. Nighttime guarding isn't part of their repertoire. The bond exists. They just show it differently. Third, sleep cycle synchronization. Some cats fully synchronize their sleep with yours. They've adapted their crepuscular rhythm to match your schedule. When you're asleep, they're asleep. There's no sentinel because both of you are resting. This is actually a sign of deep attachment. The cat has prioritized social alignment over their natural activity rhythm. If your cat guards you, recognize it as a bond behavior rooted in ancient instinct. They're doing what wild cats in colonies do for each other, maintaining vigilance during vulnerable hours. If your cat doesn't guard, that's fine too. The absence of one behavior doesn't indicate the absence of attachment. But if guarding shifts, if a cat who never guarded suddenly starts, or a cat who always guarded stops, that's information. Something has changed. Either the cat's perception of threat has shifted, or their bond with you has shifted, or their baseline stress has shifted. Most of the time, the change is temporary. But if it persists, it's worth investigating. So here's what we've covered. When your cat guards you while you sleep, they're performing sentinel behavior inherited from wild cat colonies. They're monitoring for auditory, olfactory, and visual threats while you're vulnerable. The behavior distinguishes between territorial patrol and protective guarding. Guarding is oriented toward you. Patrol is oriented toward the space. Cats choose strategic positions, doorways, elevated spots, windows, or on the bed to maximize detection or proximity. Normal guarding is calm. Anxious guarding is tense and signals elevated stress. Not all cats guard, and that's normal. But if your cat does, it's a bond signal. They've categorized you as part of their social group, and their brain has decided you're worth protecting. Your cat isn't paranoid. They're not overreacting. They're doing what their nervous system evolved to do, keep the group safe during vulnerable hours. That's not random. That's instinct expressed through attachment. If this changed how you see your cat's nighttime behavior, hit the like button. And subscribe. We're breaking down cat behavior through neuroscience every week. And here's a question for you. Does your cat guard you while you sleep? Where do they position themselves? At the door, on the bed, by the window, or somewhere else? Drop a comment. I'm curious about the patterns.